First of all, I must say thank you to Gordon Banders Bay, and I must say how much I'm honored to be invited to contribute to this book by writing up a chapter. First book, The Feather Mechanic 1, was about form follows function. It was from Gordon's point of view, and as such, it was and still is an amazing tying and philosophy book. The Feather Mechanic 2 is no different, just better in a way. I say so because you will be able to take a peek into the minds of some exceptional tiers and into the logic they are applying while tying and fishing. Having an access into one great mind is great. Having access to multiple great minds is invaluable, an opportunity that one shouldn't pass. Let's take a peek inside of the book in order to have a glimpse of what it has to offer. Diving inside of the book will reveal a plethora of photographs, some artistic, some landscape or macro, all in great quality and more importantly all are thoughtfully placed there. What both me while I was reading the first book still holds true. Drawings. Those are simple, but clear in their intention. Drawings are kept as simple as possible. They pinpoint exactly what they need to show. No photo can do the same. They also add some soul to the book. Personally, I prefer drawings to photos. There are two fonts in the book, regular one and handwriting one. Regular will complement the story around the fly, while handwriting one will go along with drawings. Every fly will have an introduction from Gordon, story and step-by-step written by tyers from around the world, all accompanied by drawings which, as I said, are showing details way better than any macro shot could done. Drawings are stripped out of any unnecessary details, leaving just important stuff to be seen. Same as the first book, this one is not pattern oriented, rather a guide or a manual to techniques shown by tyers from around the world. It is providing detailed instructions for tying patterns, from very simple ones to some advanced ones. One can simply follow the recipes and tie patterns presented. However, imagination has no boundaries, and everything in this book can be done in a different way, whether you choose to simply follow or experiment. One thing is certain, this book is very likely to make you a better tyer. There's plenty of details that most tyers never notice, and those can make huge impact on our flies. Whether it's choice between peacock barb from left or right side, or spinning the bobbin holder clockwise or counterclockwise, or applying dubbing in clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, there are many ways. There are numerous tricks that can help you improve your tying. Understanding nature of the materials used is another benefit of the book. Stories behind patterns, how and why is it made in a certain way, are there to provide logic. Understanding logic behind something means understanding it on a deeper level. If someone tells you to twist some thread in a certain way without explaining why, well, it's very unlikely it will stick with you. However, if someone provides you with an explanation behind an action, it's a way to understand everything and remember it for a long time. Now, let's get into tying some fly that certainly provide a lot of fun for me while I was practicing it. It's a Western Coachman. Well, slight variation of it because I added a red head to it. So let's go through the materials. First of all, hook. It should be Mustad 7957, but in my case, I don't have that one. Alternative will be Tiemco 9300, or let's say Hanak. This is 290 barbless. Both hooks are relatively okay, but I'm tying with Tiemco 9300 in size 12. Second one is going to be thread, and thread should be 6/0. I found out that for me personally, I prefer to work with this thinner thread, but bear in mind that with thinner thread you'll get a little bit more flair with deer hair. Also, original asks for black thread, but I find it very attractive to use the red one. I mean, those hats, they look super nice. Those red hats. So I want to do that. I mean, imagination is your limit. Tail should be golden pheasant tipped barbs, and those are super attractive, but accordingly to what you have, you should use smaller or bigger feather, so depending on the hook size. Most interesting material of all may be the peacock herl in this case, and if you look like here, so when I turn this away from me, this eye, what is my right side will be the right side of these barbs, what is my left side will be left side of these barbs. So I'm going to use a couple of these, well, one of these barbs that are just below the eye. So just where my finger is, couple, like maybe 10 of them are here. Those barbs, they have super nice taper. As you see, it goes down, and they're super full with those barbels. So for the hackle, Coachman brown would be preferable, Indian hackle. So in this instance, you don't have to have anything expensive. I do like to use whitening products, and this grizzly would be also a very good solution. But for the sake of this fly, I'm going to use the Indian one, even though I prefer the whitening. I mean, look at the difference in size. For the same size, I will align tips. Well, for the same size fly, I can use Indian or I can use whitening, but as I go down, whitening is like almost double the size in length, so you can definitely tie more flies with whitening. Plus, it's easier to handle because of the length and so on. For the wing, I will use bleached all-purpose hair, deer hair. White would be great, but this one is super nice. It doesn't flare too much, and because this is wet fly, I can use this hair that has rather thin hair. So let's get into tying. To start a fly, you want to start to fly with a reverse jam hitch, meaning that you're going to come with your thread against the hook and then go from behind, under and behind, and make this reverse hitch. Then start wrapping with your flat thread, then just transfer this tag end towards the front, catch it with the thread, tighten it a little bit, and then go. Just to make it easier for me, I'll cut this tag now because I don't need it. You can flatten the thread by counter spinning the bobbin holder, and let's go. And I want to stop more or less exactly where I want to start with my peacock body here. So all this bare shank here will be used for the hackle, more or less, and for the head, more or less. So yeah, this is it. Now, I was working obviously with these golden ring barbs, and if you notice, when I align these tips, the black part starts exactly so it has this shank length. So I'll just grab it like this and cut 8 to 10 barbs, pull this out and fold those barbs so the orange part shows all the way around. That's the goal here. So just fold these butt ends so the outer orange part is visible to the viewer. Now I already know the length. I will just transfer it here, yeah? So I will align it with a thread, and it's already perfectly aligned with the thread over here. So both ends are aligned. counter spin the bobbin holder so it jumps into your left, as you can see, and trap those barbs. Keep them on the top with flat thread, cover them. Now the next step will be to take some copper wire or gold wire. Let me see. Unfortunately, my golden tippets are not either orange, or if folding doesn't work, you can always kind of roll them to expose those orange parts. If you're satisfied, just catch them. Okay, I will align them a little bit more. And with flat thread, I'll just run down and cover the body. Okay, let me see. That's good. Next material will be wire, excess, and you need thin wire because you will make rather generous amount of wraps to protect this body. So, and to do so, let's just go under and catch it on the far side. I'll just take another wrap or two, and then I'll pull out the wire and align it again with where I want to start the peacock herl. Now in this instance I'll push away from me, so make a wrap and push away. This is more or less pull up to pull down technique. I don't want to twist the wire around, I'm keeping it on the side, and as the thread begins to twist, I'll just untwist it by spinning the bobbin holder counterclockwise. Now, left side of the feather is what you want. So, you take one of the barbs. You don't want to use the very butt end of it. Just cut it, maybe 1 inch off. Now, you need to spin the bobbin holder counterclockwise again to cord it, and to catch this barb like this. Keep a little bit of tension in the thread and pull. You strip the barb, as you can see, so you expose it and prepare it for tying in. So you can tie it in the angle of 45 degrees over here. Let me just catch it as I want it. A little bit. Okay. Now, start wrapping towards the rear in very dense wraps. So you are going to overlap this part here. Same as if you were going to wrap the biot body. Just wrap it, and as you can see, it already makes very nice and dense body. I didn't overlap here a little bit as I would like to. Well, maybe it's impossible with this barb, but as you will see, because I use this upper barb, it has this nice taper. It already goes down with taper. As you advance with this barb into the tip part of it, you have to kind of release the pressure because it gets more sensitive, more soft, so you can break it off very easily, and go with your wire around, catching it exactly as you would catch L-hair caddis hackle, and then go with a similar amount of wraps of peacock barb. You would use the same amount of wraps of this wire and go through those barbules. And now you can preserve some wraps because I caught almost all those wraps. I caught almost all peacock here, so it's not going to unwind. I'm going to catch it with thread here, the wire, and I'm going to place it on the side again. You don't want to catch those materials on the top because it will interfere with mounting of your other materials. Tip of the barb you can cut now, you can cut it later, but it is suggested that you do with slightly open tips of the scissors. So just go like this and push through. Don't snip, push. Body, as you can see, is already well made. Now I'll go and make thread foundation here for the hackle. And hackle, first of all, you want to remove those webby parts. You don't need them. So more or less I will use this much or less of the hackle. This is for me to hold on to it. Now because the hackle shiny side will face towards the eye, this side of the feather, right side of the feather, will go first over the hook. I want to fold that away. So I'll use my hackle pliers and this will keep some tension. With my left hand, I will place the thumb here to prevent it from rolling, and with my index finger I'll push those barbs down. And as you can see, they go down. I'll push them down and folding feather in this manner. It will help immensely later when I start wrapping this hackle. So this is nicely folded feather. Now the tip of it, you should prepare not square, but kind of spear shaped. So like this. I like to remove the hackle pliers at this point. So counter spin the bobbin holder counterclockwise, catch the spear shaped and run it down the hook shank by some angle of 45 degrees all the way to the peacock barb. Now, the way you want to wrap your hackle is simple. Just wrap it around, and when it's on the far side, keep it with your index finger. Then make another wrap, and on the far side, keep it with your index finger. And then just repeat the process. Now when you have around 5 or 6 wraps, you can just catch the hackle and tie it off. There is another way to do it. Let me just show you that. So we can go a little bit back and remove all those barbs that we don't need. You can use the tweezers for this. Okay, I'll just go back and repeat the process. And now what I have a bare rakeis to work with here. Much easier to tie the rakeis off. And I go to the front keep the tension or break it off. The hackle's well done. Now, run your thread, flat thread, to the back, all the way to the almost to the hackle, as you can see here. Now let's prepare the hair. Depending on the intention of what you want to do with the fly, whether it's going to be a dry fly or maybe it's going to be a wet fly, depending on that, you will use less or more hair. Regardless, you're going to clean the butts, remove the short hairs and the underfur. Don't need it. After that, you're going to place it in a stacker. As you can see, I'm placing the butt ends. They're already aligned, so I don't have to fight them. Stack the hair nicely in the direction of what you want to, how you want to remove it. In that direction, well, in the direction you want to tie it in, that's the way you want to remove the hair. I can still see some underfur over here, so I'll just stack it one more time and remove this underfur. Okay, now you can do it either way. Now you see the butt ends are not stacked. The length of the hair is not as elk haircut is winged like this. Length of the hair should go more or less half the way the tail. So. Also, you want to cut it not flush, but by some angle. By cutting it by an angle, you're going to make sure that your head is going to have some taper to it, and also as you catch each wrap, you're going to catch all those hairs. If you cut it flush, you're going to catch with each wrap all the hairs. With this, you're not going to do that. You're going to, like a step by step, you're going to catch those hairs. Now let's see what are we going to do here. Spin the bobbin holder counterclockwise to make the thread stronger, to make it also bite deeper into the hairs, and to make it jump into your fingers so you have more control. Place the first two thread wraps, loose thread wraps, place them close to butt ends like so. Well, I got one less, but it's okay. And then pull up to pull down as much as you can. And then with the adjacent wraps, cover the rest of the butt ends towards the eye of the hook. By this time, thread should be flattened, more or less. So when you go back, I'm gonna just make this wing into position where I want it a little bit more. So when you go back, you'll cover all the rest of those butt ends. And now I want to show you something. It's already flat thread. If I bite more with stronger thread, those hairs will flare more. But if you go with a soft wrap over here, you're going to collect them and kind of have this wing more under control. Now I'll make one more wrap towards the eye of the hook, and then because it's already flat thread, I don't have to flatten it anymore. I can make the whip finish. So with adjacent wraps again, I'm gonna cover the rest of it and pull the thread towards the rear, make it more tight, and to have this head well done. To cut the thread, pull it under tension, it will kind of stretch, so when you make the cut over here, the cut will jump under it and there will be no tag end showing out. Now the rest of it, I just want to have everything under control here. The rest of it to varnish the head if you want. I use super glue for this. And this super glue dries clear, which is very important obviously. This super glue dries clear, but I want also to take very little drop because I don't want it to soak too much into the hair. Just a little bit is okay. So you can't even see the drop over here. If it goes a little bit into the hackle, it will definitely render it indestructible. That's it. Western Coachman. If you have super glue here, very easy to remove. Just take some feather that you have on your table, run it through, and the head is going to be clear. The eye is going to be clear. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you like this video, and I hope you will like the book. Tight lines and stay safe.